All right. So, when you're looking at professional software like Final Cut Pro, one of the first things you want to figure out is how that license actually works across all your devices, right? Especially in Apple's ecosystem where you might have a Mac and an iPad. Now, when you buy Final Cut Pro from the Mac App Store, that license is permanently tied to your Apple ID. This is fantastic because it means you can install and use that same copy on multiple Apple branded computers that you personally own or control, as long as those Macs are signed in with the exact same Apple ID you used for the purchase. So if you got a powerful desktop Mac for heavy lifting and a MacBook Pro for working on the go, you're generally good to go with that single Mac purchase. That's a huge convenience for creators who work across their different desktop or laptop machines. However, and this is the crucial part that often gets folks, the iPad version of Final Cut Pro is a completely separate thing. When you buy Final Cut Pro for Mac, that purchase does not automatically give you access to Final Cut Pro on your iPad. It's a distinct application built specifically for iPad OS, and it has its own pricing model, which is typically a subscription rather than a one time purchase like the Mac version. So while Apple has done some incredible work to make project transfers between the Mac and iPad versions really seamless, allowing you to start a project on one and finish it on the other. You are indeed paying for two separate licenses if you want to use Final Cut Pro on both platforms. It's not a unified use it on all my Apple devices kind of license like some other apps might offer. It makes sense from a development standpoint, given their different operating systems and interfaces, but it's definitely something to factor into your budget if you're planning to use both a Mac and an iPad for your video editing workflow. So while you get excellent flexibility across your Macs with one purchase, the iPad version is a separate beast you'll need to acquire independently. So, to wrap this up, a single Final Cut Pro purchase for Mac lets you install and use it on all your personal Macs linked to your Apple ID. However, the iPad version of Final Cut Pro is a separate product with its own cost, often a subscription. So, while you can easily transfer projects between Mac and iPad, you'll need two distinct licenses if you plan to use Final Cut Pro on both platforms.